Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Welcome to Crochet Podcast, episode 109. Today I'm going to be showing you my finished objects and my works in progress, as well as show you how I find the right hook size for the yarn I'm using. Before we get started, I want to congratulate the winner from episode 108. Congratulations to Beth Horitz. Send me an email, krista@secretyarnery.com, and I will send you my latest pattern. If you want to win a free pattern, just keep watching. I'll tell you how. So a quick little update for how to pick your yarn colors. The easiest way I do it, just automatic, is milk or mud. So that's what you want to keep in your head, which is pretty easy. They both start with M. They're both kind of fun to say. So milk or mud. So milk is any color that has been mixed with milk, with white. So it's crisp and clean and spring-like. And then the other option is the same colors, but they have been mixed with mud. So they are more like earth tones, natural. They have a bit of a shadow to it. They're not super clean and crisp. They're more like fall. They can be darker shades, but they can also be pastels. Any color can be mud or milk. So when you're shopping for yarn, or when you're mixing your colors or picking your colors for a project, just ask yourself, is it milk or mud, and try not to mix the two. Your colors will pop and sing a lot better if you keep the mud together and if you keep the milk together. Today's theme, how to find the right hook size for your yarn. Now you don't have to do this every time you start a project. I only do it for the yarn that I use a lot. So I use Savor a lot, I use Favorite a lot, and I use Kenyon acrylic because the colors are amazing, and sometimes I can't find those colors with ice yarn. So I just do it once for Favorite, and I do it once for Savor, and then I just keep those samples around so I can see what hook size I want to use without having to redo it over and over again. So you only have to do it once. So you're going to want to grab your yarn, all the crochet hooks you might want to use with that yarn, and if you have stitch markers that match your crochet hooks, bring those along too. To find the right hook for your yarn, start by looking at the yarn label. So this is Favorite from Ice Yarns. It is suggesting a 5mm knitting needle. That can translate straight over to crochet hook, but usually I like to go up a size. If you are using a different yarn, check your yarn label. That is a great place to start. On this Super Saver, it suggests a 5.5mm crochet hook or a 5mm knitting needle. So see how it goes up a little bit? So at least go up 1/2 millimeter if you only get the knitting needle suggestion on the yarn label. But when you get a new kind of yarn, it is good to do a starting swatch. To do your swatch, you will just need all the crochet hooks that you might use. So I go anywhere between a 4mm and a 10mm with my 4-weight worsted acrylic, the usual yarn that I use. So if I get a new yarn, I will do a swatch, a few rows using each of these hooks. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you don't know what size hook you have, you can use one of these gauges. This is my grandmother's, or was my grandmother's, but that'll tell you what size crochet hook you have if your numbers have come off of your hooks. And if you are doing a gauge for a sweater or a pattern, one of these little devices is super handy. You just line it up and you count how many stitches across and how many rows up, and this is 10 centimeters. So this will tell you how many stitches you have in 10 centimeters, which is the usual measurement, and also how many rows you have in the 10 centimeters. So this is handy, although it is made for knitting. It is still perfectly great to use for crochet, just to count how many stitches you get across and how many rows you get up to determine your gauge if you have to match it to a sweater pattern or something like that. If gauge is intimidating to you, I have 2 tutorials for sweaters that are really, really good, and you do not need any gauge at all. I'll link those up in the cards and the description box down below. So grab your yarn, make a slip knot, shrink it down, and pop it on to your largest hook, the biggest hook that you might use with that yarn, and chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 11, and 12. Now wrap your yarn. You can work into the back loops if you want to. Go in to the second chain from your hook. So we're skipping this and we're skipping that. And I want to work into the back loop right there if you want to be particular about it. So into that third back loop, I'm going to do double crochets. So 1 double crochet into each stitch, going all the way back. So that is the first row. We want to do 2 rows of each hook size. So for my turning chain, I only do a chain 1. I do a big chain 1. I don't shrink it down. I kind of leave it a bit tall, do 1 turning chain, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch going all the way back. If you are new to crochet, you can just pop a stitch marker right into that first stitch so that you know where it is when you're coming back. 1 double crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. At the end of our row, we have this little loop. That is our very last stitch right here. So go into that last stitch with your last double crochet. So that's 2 rows. This is what it's like with a 10 millimeter. It is really floppy. There's big holes in it. You might think that that is too big. You'll never use a 10 millimeter with a 4 worsted weight yarn. But this is really good if you want to do like a really loose shawl, like a Rwana poncho would be gorgeous in this. It gives a really good drape and a really good swing. So don't rule out a large hook. It's worth starting with the biggest hook that you think you might use. But now we're finished with that hook, so I'm just going to put it to the side. Grab the next size down. This is my 9 milli. And I'm going to do 2 rows with a 9 millimeter, still with my chain 1 for my turning chain. And you can put a stitch marker in your very first stitch, that stitch right there. If you are new to crochet, just pop a stitch marker in there. So we're going to do 2 rows with our 9 millimeter crochet hook. If you have stitch markers that match your crochet hooks, we can pop in a stitch marker just in the center of those 2 rows, just on the edge, and that'll mark what color crochet hook you used. So this would match my 10, and this will match my orange, just where those 2 rows join, so we know which one that is later on. So done with the 9 milli. Next is the 8. So I'm going to do 2 rows with an 8 millimeter, still just 1 for the turning chain, and 1 double crochet into each stitch for 2 rows. So that is with an 8 millimeter. So I'm just going to pop in a pink stitch marker, and we're done with that hook. Now my favorite, my 7 milli, this works magic for so many different 4-weight yarns. And tip of the week, that chain 1 that I've been doing, instead of the turning chain that we're normally supposed to do with our stitches, so double crochet is supposed to have a chain 3. If you just do a chain 1, like a loose chain 1, you will have a really straight edge. That's how I keep straight edge for my crochet, because you don't have to worry. That chain 1 is not going to look like a stitch, it's not going to count, and it's not going to get in your way of turning your work and seeing that very first stitch right here. It lets you work right into that stitch. It looks like a normal stitch, just like that, and you get this really straight edge along the side. See how straight that is? You can't totally see because I've changed hook size so many times, but if you pull it, you will see how straight that is, just from doing that chain 1. So that is the trick for keeping a straight edge. So 1 double crochet into each stitch, all the way along with your 7 millimeter for 2 rows. There's our 7 millimeter. See how it is getting so much smaller? I'm going to pop a stitch marker into the center of those stitches and change hooks. Now I'm going to be using my 6.5. So 2 rows with your next hook size. There's my 6.5, getting a lot smaller now. Now a 6 milli, that is 6 millimeter. Now these hooks are very well loved. If you want to see my tips and tricks for washing your crochet hooks and getting them to be brand new again, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to show you how I do it, which I should be doing because that's grimy. Next is a 5.5 millimeter. That is 5.5. Next is 5 millimeter. That is 5 millimeter, 4.5, and a 4 millimeter. And that is a 4 millimeter. Now you can just chain 1 and cut your yarn. But look at this yarn chicken. That's amazing, right? That's just plain old luck. If you do amigurumi or projects that require nice tight stitches, you could even keep going with a 3.5, a 3. You can keep going down until you cannot get your crochet hook into those stitches anymore, until the yarn is just too big. So this is the finished sample, and you can see the drape on it for like how floppy it is. It's really floppy with the bigger sizes. and it is very not floppy with the smaller sizes. So if you're doing amigurumi or anything, you want a nice tight stitch, you'll be feeling for your smaller stitches to see which one you like best for the feeling of it. And if you want to do a garment, you want to kind of squeeze down and find the feeling you want for your sweater or wrap or blanket or anything like that. And if you're doing a proper gauge with that cute little device, you can also use this to see which hook size will give you the gauge you want. If you have an idea or a crochet question that you would like to be theme of the week, let me know in the comments under this video. What you might see in the Yarnery today, we have the lovely V-stitch scarf. That is a perfect tutorial for beginners or anybody who wants a fast gift. That V-stitch scarf, you work into the spaces, so you don't have to look for your stitches. You're just going dook, dook, dook into spaces the whole way across. It is a super simple one-row repeat. So I'll link that tutorial in the cards. There's also a written pattern on my website. What else is in the Yarnery? There is my Speedy Granny Ruth blanket. That one is made by Granny Ruth. That was a gift to me in the 70s. This is the same pattern but made without tassels. So that is a Speedy Granny Ruth baby blanket. Of course, there's a huge crochet balls, 2 of them, and my party cardi. So I asked last week if you wanted me to redo the party cardi in a normal acrylic yarn just so you can see those stitches a lot better, and lots of people said that they did. So that will be an upcoming tutorial at some point in time. Not right now, but that will be on my list of things to do. So I think that's about all you can see. Of course, there's a subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Love to have you also join our community. Joining the channel means you help me make more videos, and I would just love to give a big thank you and shout out to our family members. Family members also get a 15-minute video chat every month, private, just you and me. That is starting tomorrow, actually. So if you're a family member, book your time slot. Can't wait to chat with you. And a big hello and thank you to Caroline, Carrie, Kathy, Sindra, Claire, Friendly Crochet Creations, Jacqueline, Carrie the Yarny Elephant, Kim, Crystal, Leslie, Lori, Lynn, Mama Hodge Crochet and Crafts, Marie, Narelle, Sharon, and Tracy. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to chat with you tomorrow. Now, Bloomscape Cal update. Ready for it, right? If you don't know what the Bloomscape Cal is, it is a crochet along, a Cal, crochet along, that we are doing all the way through 2023. It is one new granny square flower per month that we are making into a larger block and then joining into a gorgeous flower garden blanket afghan at the end of the year. This is what our first block looks like. Well, it's actually our second block. This was our first block. So that is the Pop and Petal Granny Square, and this is the Dahlia 3D Granny Square. Isn't that great? There's a playlist for all of the Bloomscape crochet along videos. You can just start at the top and work your way through. To make a twin size blanket, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what my size is. You'll do 2 of each flower, or of the 12 flowers, or 24 blocks, and that will give you a nice twin size. Or you can do a baby blanket or a little lapgan. That will just be 1 block of each flower. It's so cute, right? So it's not too late to join us. There is a new tutorial every month for the block itself, the granny square, and there's already 1 video of how to turn it into the Bloomscape Cal square. So each flower is gonna end the same. They're all gonna end like this, and then we're gonna turn them all into a block like that. So far, anyway. There might be bigger ones. So far, this is exactly what we're doing. If anything changes, I'll do a new video to update you, but so far, exactly what we're doing here. We're gonna repeat every month until we have enough blocks to make a gorgeous blanket. So I'll link that playlist up in the cards. It's a great stash buster. You can get rid of all those little bits of yarn, all the nice bright colors, and everything you need to know is in that playlist. Now, finished objects. I do have some that I have done this week, starting with the granny rectangle, and that joins up with other granny squares, or you can also, of course, put in more, like just put granny rectangles together, or you could do any sort of really cool pattern. It really opens up your creative possibilities just with this simple pattern. So the tutorial is for the 4-round granny. And on the written pattern, I also went up to a 6-round granny, a 5-round granny, and down to a 3-round granny. So the written pattern has all of the different measurements that you will need to make all the different sizes. And there is the tutorial already to match with the granny squares that we are already making. So that is another super exciting project, and I'm really enjoying it, as you can tell. Aren't those colors like so great? So fun. So they all start the same, but I just added colors. Can I show you? Yeah, I can. I just added more rows, more rainbow rows to get the size that I wanted. Aren't those adorable? They're so cute. I just want to, I'm in a total granny. They totally just started me on a granny fetish. I'm full throttle granny fetishing right now because of those fabulous colors right there. So of course I made them all into little swatches. So that's the smallest. Next size up. Next size up. And last size up. Isn't that great? I just want that on a pillow. Like, that is just gonna be a pillow. It is meant to be. I just love it. So that has got me, that got me all busy, all worked up, all bothered, all busy. I'm loving it. I have not done my tails, truth be told. Although I did my tails on these ones. So that's, I mean, half, right? I just love the colors. I find them so inspiring. Now, next finished object, wait for it, you're gonna love it. I love it, you have to love it, that's how it is. I'm gonna show you the progression of how it started. So it started coming up with a new flower for the Bloomscape Cal 2023. I don't want the flowers to be too complicated. I know the dahlia was a bit much for some people. You have to work into front loops and back loops, which is kind of an intermediate, you know, it's more fussy. It's a bit more detailed, I suppose. So that was a bit slower for some people, even though I just love it. I think it's so gorgeous. And I don't want the crochet along to be just for advanced crocheters. Originally, I wanted the crochet along to represent realistic flowers. Like, I wanted my garden represented in a blanket, textured, 3D, so fabulous. But I also don't want to alienate people that are new to crochet or have anybody watch a tutorial and then be like, oh no, I can't do any of that. That's like too hard. So I want to keep it a little bit simple. And I'm like, what flowers can I make that don't involve front loop, back loop? Lots of those flowers, they do involve front loop, back loop, because you want one row of petals and one row to get bigger. So petals, larger, petals, larger, and that's how you build your flower. If you're not doing that, I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm listening for the cat. Was that my baby cat awake? No, she's sleeping, good. So last week when we were going through stack in the back, the yellow, we're gonna do stack in the back orange today, by the way. So in the yellow, there was a double daisy dishcloth, and I made that into these double daisy granny squares, which I made into a double daisy granny square pillow, which I call it my Westphalia pillow. If I had a Westphalia, this would be my color scheme, and that would be rocking on the bench seat in my camper van. I just, like, absolutely, I love it. And it would work really great for the Bloomscape Cal. Super simple to do, still textured, right? That'd be really fun. So I'm like, that would be a good kind of pattern to include. So I did one. I made it a little bit bigger to match more of the size of the dahlia, right? Really, really cute. Then I was like, it's too flat. Right? It's like a little pancake. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, like, what can I do? So that's the same style, but I made it a bit poofier. That's cute, right? So this, I'm like, that is gorgeous. So now if you even put that over the dahlia, really cute, right? I mean, that is gonna be a gorgeous block. So super happy with that. Thought I loved the color, then I'm like, I don't love the color. You know how it is, right? I'm like, it's too dark. There's not really a flower that is that dark purple. They're not really, right? So I'm like, okay, what about that little antique rose color? That's gorgeous, isn't it? But then I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it is, but it's, for me, I was like, no. Then, ready? Boom. I love that. It's like wisteria or something. Oh, it's everything. So this is going to be the written pattern and tutorial coming out on Sunday. Written pattern, secretyarnery.com. That's the back side. Isn't that so neat and tidy? Yes, I did my ends for once. So it sits up, but it can also be flattened if you really, if you don't want the 3D. I mean, it is squishable, but it's also domable. I'm also like, wouldn't that just be the cutest hat? Like if you kept going, you could make the sweetest popcorn hat ever in the whole world. So I'm in love with this pattern. To make it into the Bloomscape Cal, that's the block as the Bloomscape Cal. Isn't that so pretty? I just love it. I love it so much. I've sewn in my ends on both of them. That's how much I love it. It's adorable. I've started my second one, but I ran out of yarn. So sometimes you have a yarn chicken win, sometimes you have a yarn chicken fail. Not that I'm complaining, but I wanted to show you, you don't always win. But close, right? I got close. So this is going to be coming out on Sunday. That's coming out on Sunday. Turning it into the block is already out. It ends the same way that our petal popping granny did. So we're going to do the exact same block. It's just going to have a different flower in the center. So there's one video for turning it into a block, and each month there is a new flower tutorial like this coming out. And we just turn this into this for the Cal. So after all of that, I went back looking at my original purple, and I'm like, I think I like it. I think that could also be a Bloomscape Cal. It's really pretty, and it is not the same as the little bumpy one. Like, it's a different flower. It just needs to be a different color. So, different color. Isn't that cute? So I like it in the orange. I like it in the purple too. But now I think maybe that's, anyway, I like it. Let me know if you think that should be a Bloomscape Cal granny square as well. I think it's really cute. And then also I'm like, what if we just change the popcorn stitches? And then, this is my 3 o'clock in the morning. This is what ended up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I really like it. You tell me. I'm pinching my ends together so I can show it to you. You tell me what you think. Like, wow, right? So this is still easy to do. It's beginner friendly. And I think it looks fantastic. I don't know what flower it looks like. If you have any idea of what flower that looks like, let me know in the comments below. But I'm loving that one. I'm like, ooh, it's so pretty. So you can pop it up, boop, and then it can be like a poofy one. Or you can pop it down, and then those petals look like that. I'm like, that is so cute. So that is going to be another Bloomscape Cal granny square coming out. I really like it, obviously. So that is the Bloomscape Cal progression and what's happening with that and some finished objects. And now on to other whips. Now you would have seen this one start on the Monday live chat. That was Aussie edition. So once a month or so, I do an early morning, my time early morning edition for people in Australia and New Zealand who can't join the Friday live chat because it is literally in the middle of the night. So during that live chat, I got a bunch of yarn and I started a project. I want to make a granny sweater of some sort. So I started with the basic granny square, but I don't like all these big spaces, these big holes, because if you're gonna have a sweater on, I don't want big holes like that. That's like not what I want. Then I remembered I had a pattern for a sunburst granny. I used it for a lampshade for an old lamp that was from my Granny Ruth, actually. Same lady who crocheted that blanket. It came with that same wire frame, but it had silk on it, or no, satin? It had really old satin on it that was torn top and bottom. So it has it didn't travel that well. I've had it forever. So decided to crochet a lampshade cover for it using a Sunburst Granny crochet pattern. So using that pattern, because it doesn't have as many holes and it turns into a square so easy, but I also tried to make it bigger. So here is my first version, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not sure about the colors. I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, what are you even doing? So I'm like, I won't make it bigger. I'm just gonna turn it into a square using the same way, you know, you do it. So trebles, doubles, half doubles, doubles, trebles. Trebles are your corners. And I'm like, that is great. That looks really cute. And yeah. So this, I did 12 in the beginning instead of the 16 you're supposed to do. That is a perfect triangle. I'm like, what? You can never make a triangle. You know, you're like, I need to make a triangle, you know, to make whatever shape you want to do. And even on the granny square, I wanted a triangle up here by the neck so that you don't have like to have flop over a granny square. I just want a triangle in there. So I'm like, boom, nailed it right out of the gate. Happy stance. Also, you know, for the kick pleats, because generally they're just 2 rows of granny squares each side going down, and then you have to, where your hips are or your bum kind of starts getting larger, you stop sewing it together on the sides because it won't close. You know, we're too curvy. I'm like, what if we also put a triangle down, you know, where your hips are, so it kind of gives a bit of flare and a whole extra row of granny squares along the hip. I'm gonna try it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I thought at least I know how to do a triangle. Happy fail right there. So then turning it into squares just to see what size they would be, like that. So 1 and 2 going across, 5 along the back, right? So that would be really cute. Made a couple of those, just, you know, samples, trying to like figure out the pattern. I tried to do it without puff stitches, but no, you have to do the puff stitches or it just doesn't look as good. So here's no puff stitches. And here's puff stitches. So puff stitches are here, no puff stitches are here. You tell me if you think we also need the puff stitches. I mean, looking now, you have to really look to be like, what did you do in that one? I mean, it's possible you don't have to do the puffs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make all of my circles like this. So that's as much as I'm gonna do. And then I'm going to do join as you go in the one, in like the joining color, whatever color that's gonna be, a gray or a beige or something like that. I'm gonna do join as you go, you know, up and down, around, da da da, so I don't have ends to sew in for the sweater, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna get a whole bunch of these done. I'm starting with doing 20 of each color. These are the colors I'm gonna use. I'm not sure about this beige color because it feels a lot thicker. It is a lot thicker than the other saver I have. So I think I'm gonna do something like that. I'm gonna go see if I have a gray that feels a bit thinner, because I did a little sample with this guy here and it feels really firm. These feel, the puff stitches feel firm, like really firm. I used Kenyan acrylic for these. They don't feel as firm at all. So that makes me know that this saver is much thicker than the other saver I have. So I'm gonna replace that cream color with a different neutral. I just don't know what neutral. I might use the Kenyan acrylic just to get that nice contrasting pop, but I'm gonna look through my saver and see if I have anything that I could use that feels a bit thinner that would match the thinness of the other shades I have. So I'm gonna start by making 80 of these circles. So 20 starting with this, 20 with that, 20 with this, and 20 with whatever neutral I find that feels right to match the colors. And then I'm gonna divide those up and then do 7 approximately of each color for the next row, and again 7 of the opposite color for the next row. So I'm gonna try to even it out so I have an equal number of all the different circle combinations that I could make. So this is not going to be coming out anytime soon. This is just something I get to work on because 2020, there's a lot to do, and I don't really have to film it because filming it will just be making the one. So I can crochet a lot of these before I start filming. Now, news of the week. So news of the week, I have a new cat, apparently. There was kittens on the road, a mother cat and her kittens, and she moved them from one place to another place, I suppose. She left one behind. So one little tiny kitty cat. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. Churchy doesn't care. Mabel loves her. We'll see. I don't know how we're gonna, my other dogs, yeah, that's not gonna work out. So she's gonna be a house cat for sure. She is eating and going to the bathroom with help. So on all fronts, she needs help eating. She needs help going to the bathroom, but she is doing good and she's really cute. So let me actually go and get her because I think she's gonna be hungry like right now. Well, where are you? Hi. Hi. I know, right? Are you hungry? You don't feel hungry. Come. Come, baby. Oh, you're too cute. You're too cute. Let's go get your... Let's go find your milk. Here. 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 Finally. Finally. So that's my little chickpea. Chickpea, you're not looking at the camera. You're not looking at the camera. Oh, there you go. That's Chickpea. Oh, left on the road. Oh. That's my baby girl. That's my baby girl. I don't know if she's a girl. Some days we think she's a girl. Some days we think she's a boy. Lately, we're thinking she's a girl. We're converting the back patio into like a cat playground. So she has a safe space to be when she can't be supervised. So that's a fun project to work on. And what other news? The weather's warmed up, 27 degrees today. Kids want to go swimming in my redneck swimming pool. And they've started Taekwondo lessons. So we have an instructor that comes home and he is so good. I mean, I just appreciate anybody who yells at my own children. I think it's great. At least I'm not alone yelling at them. Not yelling at them badly, but he's like, kick, kick. You know what I mean? Not like, it's all right, let's do our breathing. No, no, no. Exercise. Get on it. So he is really great. They're doing kicks. They're all sore. They're like stumbling around being like, oh, it hurts. This hurts. That hurts. It's great. But they're really enjoying it and they're getting fit. So I think that's really good. So that's about it for News of the Week. Who is ready to unpack a stack? I better be recording. Okay, good. If I wasn't recording, I would have cried. It already had to redo it twice. It's the second time. Okay, we're all right. We're all right. Don't panic. Let me go get that stack. Check out that stack. I love it. Where am I going to put it? I guess here for now. Starting with market bag. I have not done a tutorial for this. I didn't enjoy all the single crochet. I didn't. Plus, I think it looks like a tank top. Or like a beach cover-up, right? It would actually be a really cute beach cover-up. For a beach cover-up, I would do a tutorial for sure. That would be so cute. Right? Like obviously not like, you know what I mean? That would be super cute. Like a little tank top, beachy, swingy dress. I'd have to wear like a lot underneath it, but anyway, that's cute. I didn't, yeah, the single crochets were like, that was just a lot of single crochet. I used Camilla cotton for it, and it's just a treble crochet mesh. So treble crochet, chain 3, treble crochet, chain 3 kind of thing. Into a big square, and then you cinch it up. You cinch up harshly on 2 sides. Wow, look at those stitches all yanked apart like that. You decrease harshly on 2 sides and less on 2 sides. So that kind of turns it into a shopping bag. I wasn't really a fan of it. I thought I'd love it and make a whole bunch. I haven't. Turns out I don't really love it. These cuties, okay, where's the rest of it? Oh, there it is, it's under. Okay, I'm going out of order now. These cuties are my fingerless gloves, which I love. So they're granny in a spiral. So 1 row repeat. This you just go in a spiral, no joining or anything. Fingerless gloves, easiest pattern in the world. I love it. So these are written pattern plus a tutorial, and you can of course make them longer or shorter depending on how you like it. I know some people like them really long, some people like them short. You can adjust that in the pattern. I show you how to do it. And also the granny in a spiral hood or cowl or snood. At least I don't have to worry about ruining my hair, right? Can't mess that up. So look at that. Isn't that so cute? So you can kind of wear it as a head covering, you know, if you're chilly, or you can put it down as just like a nice big cool cowl if you are a bit hot. You can do just about anything with it. So these are both tutorials and written patterns on my website and the channel here. Isn't that cute? If you were on the mailing list this week, this is what I emailed out. Is just a little refresher for this pattern because it's so good for the season, right? It also is the same yarn as that gorgeous V-stitch scarf. Just saying. Isn't that cute? I should have been wearing these in the winter. I always forget. I forget all the greatness I have on these cubbies. This cutie, this is our friendship shawl. This is a written pattern. This is 5 balls of Kenyan acrylic, or 1 ball per color, as big as we can get it, and it's the New Dawn friendship shawl, just because of the shell repeat. It is a few row repeat. I think it's 3 different rows you have to do, or 4, but it's really cute and worth it. This is the yarn from the Share the Yarny Love. Why do I always have fuss on my nose? Because I just put a snood on? Probably. Okay. So this can go with anything. Still itchy. So this can go with anything. Haven't sewn in my tail. Waiting to film the tutorial. Haven't filmed a tutorial. But it is exactly 500 grams of yarn, and you can use any color combination or any yarn that you have. This is just regular 4-weight worsted acrylic. So if you would like this to be a tutorial, let me know in the comments under this video. It's been on my list of things to do. I think this is the 2nd year. Isn't it, Kim? It's been 2 years. It is a written pattern that has been revised. Oh, this is a cute one. This is my ice cream blanket. So this is a granny square, C to C. So it's corner to corner granny square. So the granny goes that way. So you just do row by row, but you add. And then when you get halfway, then you decrease, going that way. So that's a cute thing. A good little pattern to have. Well, I didn't fold it up nicely now. That is not going to fit back properly. Okay, I think I have to do this way around. I have to do it in thirds so it fits on my shelf again. There we go. That one. Oh, I love this one. I love it. I love it. I have to have this one out. This is like so good. Isn't that pretty? This is a gorgeous spring summer shawl. Oh, I love it. Oh, it matches my outfit. Ooh, wow. Fancy town. How cute is that? So this is a tutorial and written pattern. It is so great. I love the border. Thank goodness I wrote it down because I don't remember how to do it. But that is just such a pretty border to put on anything. I love it. I love the colors. I love the yarn. I love everything about it. This I want to put on my mannequin actually. I love it so much. That might be a bit not folded well. This is a great scarf for any fuzzy yarn that you have. Any yarn where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing and I can't see a thing. This is a great pattern for you. It's really good. So any fuzzy yarn that you cannot tell where your stitches are, you don't need to see your stitches for this pattern. Not that I remember how I did it, but anyway. Thank goodness again, there's a tutorial already, and I think there's also a written pattern. Oh, I can kind of see what I did. A little bit. So that is a really easy one to do, and it uses up your fuzzy yarn that you don't know what to do with, you're scared to use. So that is this beauty. Isn't that so cool? I love it. And it's nice and long, so you could really wear it. Get your most bang for your fuzzy yarn buck. Cute, right? That one's just gorgeous. And goes with everything, of course, rainbow. Oh, last one. This has to be filmed also. If I've sewn in my tails, that means I'm not gonna film it, or I've already filmed it. So, and I'm like, I haven't filmed it. Anyway, this is, I have to get behind to show you, the Golden Gate Granny baby blanket. How cute. So it's the colors of the Golden Gate Bridge plus the color of yarn that Lynn needs. Lynn, this is a blanket. I can take some stitches out for you if you need that yarn. So it has blue for the ocean, and then it goes up to the Golden Gate Bridge color. I took the colors from a photo, but I think in reality, I have mixed milk and mud. I think that's why I don't like it. So I think this tobacco color, it's actually called tobacco. This tobacco is a mud color, and this blue is a milk. So I think I've mixed mud and milk, and that's why I'm not a super fan of the color combination. So, mud and milk. What I was trying to match an actual photo, and I did match an actual photo, but without looking for mud and milk, and I didn't have much yarn. It was before one of my big shopping trips, and yes, I said I didn't have much yarn. I didn't have very much yarn at all. It was run out. When was it, 2 years ago? If you look back, my shelves were empty, and I put a big order and fixed it. But in the process, these are the colors I had left, and I mixed them, and I think that's why I don't like it, mud and milk. I mean, not that I don't like it, but there's something off about it, and I think that's what it is. Anyway, this is a super simple 1-row repeat, and I might redo it in another color combination. So Lynn, seriously, if you want the yarn, let me know, because I'm not feeling it. Now that I just saw it again, mud and milk together, you get this. Or what do you think? Do you think that's mud and milk? I think that's mud and milk. It's still pretty, and it's very soft. It's lovely yarn. Now I'm gonna put my stack away like a grown-up, like an adult would. I'm gonna clean up after myself. Not that I want to, but I'm going to. That was Stack of the Bat. So what you need to do to win your own free pattern is subscribe. It's cool, right? Crocheted. Yeah, you got to do that. And then answer the question of the day in the comments under this video. Question of the day is, what is your favorite part of the podcast, or what would you like to see in the podcast? Let me know in the comments under this video, and check out that one. Stay hooked.